If you simply search social media effects in Google, countless articles of the negative correlation between social media and the mental health of individuals pop up with effects concerning increased or developed depression, anxiety, loneliness, self-harm, and even suicidal thoughts. Now, I'm sure we're all at least somewhat familiar with the positive effects that social media has on our lives, being as we can stay in contact with friends and family, we can find out useful information about the world, and we can spread awareness among others with just a click of a button, and so much more. But why don't we stop and analyze if what we are consuming on a day-to-day basis and spreading to others is even healthy for us and our minds, for others, and the health of society itself. Now, I would be lying if I said that I was one of those people who was always off the grid and not addicted to swiping away time and maybe even posting a little bit here and there. It wasn't until the past year and a half that I realized my phone addiction had become more and more toxic as time went on. I wasn't getting anything done. I wasn't feeling my best self. It was affecting the way I viewed the world and myself, and I always felt like I needed more or wanted more out of life. In 2021 and 2022, I had experienced a lot of grief in my life. I couldn't take it. I hated the feeling. I couldn't escape the feeling. I decided I needed to take some serious action in my life. On December 31st, 2022, I decided that I would post my last story on Instagram and delete the app. I also deleted Snapchat and my entire Facebook account. I just needed a detox, a complete escape from the media, from the people that I used to know that I don't know anymore, that I follow, from the people who follow me that don't know me anymore. I just needed a complete isolation. It was a start for me to focus on my life, to deal with everything that was keeping me from moving forward head on, and to free myself completely from my own mind. In this video, I wanted to talk about my experience going without social media for 100 days, how it has helped me, and what I will do from now on. Now, despite me deleting all of my social media apps, I wanted to be completely honest and say that I did keep YouTube for the simple fact that to me, it's more like Netflix. It's a place where I can go to reward myself, watch videos, whether it's for leisure time or educational purposes, and it has never been a place where I felt like I was addicted or I felt like this toxic energy. Also, during the time I decided I wanted to start up my YouTube channel again, so kind of needed to go on there to fine-tune some things. At first I wanted to try 50 days without social media, but then halfway through I was like, maybe I will challenge myself a little bit more. So I decided to up it to 100 days. But I will say without my Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook, I will say my life has greatly improved. Now, I won't say that there is a world of a difference between who I was then and who I am now, because this is only a small portion of what can better me as a person. But I can tell as I look inwards and into my day-to-day life that my quality of life has gradually increased. And like I said, this is not only because I got rid of social media, but because the time that I was without it, I worked greatly to improve my life. First, I wanted to talk about some goals that I kept in mind while doing this challenge. Number one, I wanted to break my social media addiction, obviously. I wanted to be less distracted so I can get work done, be more productive, and just feel better about myself. 3, I wanted to feel full and complete in myself and the trajectory of my life. 4 is to not be influenced by other people's lives and what other people are doing. 5, to not be constantly worried about the news that I might have to see online so that I can have more peace. 6, I wanted to focus on my goals and actually making some moves. And 7 is to just challenge myself. But we all know, as with any addiction, comes withdrawals. During the first couple weeks of this challenge, I realized that I was picking up my phone a lot of the time just to scroll to the place or the folder where my Instagram and Snapchat used to be, just to click on it to scroll. And when I realized that they weren't there, I came back to reality and was like, why did I even pick up my phone to even go on this app? Because there's no reason. I didn't even feel like wanting to. I didn't even had a desire to do it. This happened a number of times, and I realized that it was my mind just trying to take something else to fill it, because maybe I didn't want to be in that moment without distraction. Not that it was some extreme things where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm craving social media, I'm craving to go on this app. It wasn't anything crazy like that. So I would go in my notes, my notes app, and I would just scroll and be like, oh, click on this note. I already know what's in this note, but I'm gonna go on this note and just scroll and just look at it. Or I would go on the weather app and I would look at the weather for the week for like the 4th time that day. Or I would go into my camera roll. It's like my mind needed to check something. But once I noticed this behavior, I decided I needed to break that. I will say, to me, to break a habit and to start a habit takes 2 things: practice and time. So I gave myself just that. And that's why 50 days was not enough for me. So some of the actions that I decided to take during this time of not having my social media was that I wanted to isolate myself from my friends and my work environment. I had saved up a bunch of money before then, so I thought it would be a good time to go down to a couple days a week so that I can really just focus on myself and just focus on my mental health, because that was what was more important, and I had been not prioritizing this for a long time, and I owed it to myself to give myself that time and to give myself all of me. Obviously, realistically, because I still need money to pay for rent and everything, but I sat with myself and I really thought about what I needed to do to become the better version of myself. I'm still a work in progress. I'm not perfect at this point. I went to therapy. I'm still going to therapy. It's probably my 5th month now going. I tried to create a daily routine, some healthy habits that I wanted to implement in my life every day, like working out, going outside, practicing not being distracted, which are all works in progress, because it is really hard to stay centered and to not be distracted by things around you, or just to be distracted by your own thoughts and feelings. I read this book, which I greatly recommend, The Untethered Soul, which talks about basically how to stay centered, and basically you are just a consciousness and you're experiencing life through a body. And your thoughts and emotions aren't actually you. They are just something you are experiencing, as well as the outside world. I tried to keep this in mind and have this type of mindset, and being focused on my goals at hand and what I wanted to accomplish, and how happy and free I would feel once I accomplished everything I needed to. I didn't really go out and hang out with friends. I didn't stay out late after work. I just was focused. I went to bed early. At least I tried most nights to go to bed early, to wake up early, to really just do what I've always wanted to do. And I just really wanted to feel alive again. I really wanted to feel like I was on track. I wanted to feel like I was working towards something. Time without practice is time wasted. We have to practice what we want to do every day. That's what I at least tried to do as best as I could. I tried to practice being more in the moment, especially if I'm outside or if I'm hanging out with family or my boyfriend, to try to stay in the moment, try not to get on my phone, noticing how the moment feels and how I'm feeling in my mind, and just being aware of everything going on, and just practice being less distracted, whether it be my phone, whether it be the thoughts in my head. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways I'll take from this challenge, because if you're always looking down, or if you're always too stuck up here, then you'll never notice what's out here. And look what's out here, guys. Beauty. But I wanted to talk about when I decided to get back on social media and what happened. So when I actually got back on social media, it was weird. It was a really weird feeling. My first thought really was just, wow, my is dry. The only messages I had were from my family members and my boyfriend, just for sending me memes over the time. Once I downloaded these apps again, I was scrolling and kind of looking at people's stories for a little bit. It was honestly triggering. Not that something specifically happened, it was just that the feeling I felt last time I was on social media sort of came back in a way that was different but familiar at the same time. It's hard to explain. It gave me a feeling back to when I was in high school and college, and even just last year, when I felt so lost and unsure of myself, and it kind of like triggered those feelings to come back for a little bit. So I actually had to get off of those apps for the rest of that night. It was just weird because I had been working really hard to heal that feeling inside and to not cover it up, but just to deal with it head on. Also, I just felt like I was out of the loop for a while. I didn't know a lot about what was happening in, you know, pop culture or just news in general. I wasn't keeping up with anything really other than economic news because I trade. It was weird to go back on there and see multiple posts about like blank is happening, blank is happening. It was like a lot of information to take in. I want to talk about the results of everything, my game plan moving forward, and just my overall honest opinion about doing this challenge. Would I say that this challenge was worth it? Yes, I will say that. There was a small addiction to picking up my phone and just scrolling mindlessly and feeling like I want to post. I can say that since I've been off for a while that I don't really feel the need. You know, what do I get out of it? Nothing. I know that the past 4.5 months have been the most productive and self-encouraging months of my life because I took the time to be present with myself, to practice being less distracted, and I can say that I couldn't easily do that if I had social media still, and I still had the mindset I did before going back on social media. I contemplated even just deleting them altogether. I think now that I have a healthier relationship and a healthier perspective, I think that I can keep it. I will say, since going on, it's been a couple weeks now, I have been more aware, just so I can tell you guys how it's been. There are days when I forget that I even have these. I've gone days the past couple weeks not opening the apps, and I think that's awesome because that shows that I am onto more productive things. There's gonna be times where I slip up, and that's completely fine. I'm gonna let myself not isolate as much as I did during this time either. With what I want to do, I want to start networking more. I want to start feeling more confident in putting myself out there, and that's just the next goal from now on. So thank you guys for watching. If you watched this far, I took a little bit of a different route in the filming of this video, so hope you enjoyed, whatever. If you're on this journey of challenging yourself to be without social media or just to have a better perspective, you don't even have to delete social media out of your life altogether. You can just practice changing your perspective and changing your relationship, and that'll be totally fine. If you just have a story to share, let me know in the comments because I would love to hear your stories. I mean, there's so many different perspectives out there, and it's just so cool to hear about. I encourage you and support you if you're going on this journey of your own self-discovery, and just know that it all starts with you, and all you have to do is start. So, mwah, bye.